Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of February 14th and to the 19th, though. Before I get started, I do want to say that next week, I more than likely will not be doing a My 2 Cent or a video review or anything like that. Taking some time off, though. I'm going to spend some quality time with the families and all that stuff. And like I said before in the past, you know, you always want to take a break every once in a while, spend some quiet time and all that stuff. So I'll be doing that next week. So for those who are looking forward to a My 2 Cent or a video review I normally like to do and all that stuff, there won't be one next week and all that stuff, but hopefully I'll have another one the week after and all. So just a quick heads up on that. But anyway, though, we got 4 stories to cover, including some, well, unfortunately more negative news with Google Stadia. This one has to do with a story behind the reason behind they decided to close down their first party studio and all that stuff. We also want to give my thoughts on the Nintendo Direct that just happened, the first one for 2021 and the first one we've had since like 2019 and all that stuff. So it'll be very interesting. I'll give you my thoughts on that. I also want to talk about the rumors that have been going around about the possibility of that not only Resident Evil Revelation 3 supposedly exists, but it goes under a different name, and that supposedly it could be a time exclusive onto the Nintendo Switch. And of course, the NPDs have been released for the month of January, though, the sales charts and all that stuff. But before we get started, we'll do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cent part. Stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details on it. So the first one has to do with, obviously, Stadia, which in a way is kind of a good news, as they are getting more than 100 games that will be coming to the service, along with games like the Shantae series, to even Sega's Judgment will be coming to the surface. So it's certainly nice that they are still bringing more games over. Hopefully they continue with that and all that stuff, but still, I can see why some people are still murky about Stadia, given the current situation it is right now. But time will tell to see if they can continue with bringing more games over to the service and all that stuff. We also learned that SNK has announced a Neo Geo Pocket Collection or Selection complication that will be coming to the Nintendo Switch. The first one that they showed off was the SNK versus Capcom one, which is certainly nice that they're bringing games from the Neo Geo Pocket over and all that stuff, though. I personally would love the Metal Slug one. I'm a big fan of that series, the Metal Slug series. Hopefully they'll bring that one over and all that stuff, but for right now it looks like the ones that they're bringing over are mostly in the fighting game category for the time being. Excuse me. We also learned that Fall Guy, the popular, I think, free-to-play game, or I think it's a free-to-play game, I'm not 100% sure, will be coming to the Xbox this summer and all that stuff. They recently announced it for the Nintendo Switch as part of their Direct, so it looks like it will be coming to the Xbox as well. We also learned in a bizarre story is that Miitopia has been rated in Russia, has gotten an 18 plus and all that stuff, and it has to do with the fact that supposedly there is a same-sex relationship in Miitopia and all that stuff. Now, so far the game hasn't been outright banned or anything like that, and I haven't played the original Miitopia, so I don't really know how this version plays out and all that stuff. But the reason for it to get an 18 plus because of supposedly a same-sex relationship, I just think it seems a little bit weird and kind of going a little bit overboard. But so far at this time, it doesn't sound like it's being banned at Russia at this moment. We also learned that basically there is a rumor going around that Konami could be outsourcing Metal Gear Solid and Castlevania IPs for other developers to handle it. This has to do after the poorly response and supposedly failed sales-wise of Contra Road Corp Road Corp, if I'm saying this name correctly, and the Metal Gear Survivor game. We've seen the backlash that game has gotten. So I would say if this rumor is true, I would say this is probably the better approach for Konami at this point, because let's be honest, a lot of their talents that they have pretty much left and all that stuff. So I would say this probably would be, it's probably the best outcome for them to basically let other studios handle their IP, since, well, let's be honest, Konami really has rarely developed any of their own games, and after seeing how Contra Road Corp and Metal Gear Survival has handled it, this probably is the better choice though. And last but not least, supposedly we are going to see a lawsuit being filed against Sony over the issue with the PS5, and this has to do with the drift. Basically, from what I understand, it's very similar to the situation we've seen with the Joy-Con drift and all that stuff. It will be very interesting to see how far this lawsuit goes, though. I haven't gotten a PS5, so I don't know if I've experienced the same problem as well. But for now, I'm taking an approach similar to the what I am dealing with in terms of the Joy-Con drift, which is that I don't deny the fact that the issue probably does exist, though, and I'm sure there's proof of it out there, and more than likely it is, though. But based on my time with the Joy-Cons that I've had since like 2017. I really haven't experienced anything like that. So, and like I said, I don't have a PS5, so I don't know for certain if I've experienced any kind of PS5 drift or not. So, we'll see when I eventually finally get a PS5, if I can lucky to find one and all. Okay, with the quick My 2 cents now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with the NPD. So we finally got the results for January's NPD and all that stuff, and it seems as though the Switch seems to be doing very well, and despite issues of the Xbox Series S and X and PS5, they're also doing very well, and some certain games have made it on the list that seem to be doing fine too, as well as one that I'm glad that it's doing well though, and that is Immortal Phoenix Rising though. In an article from VentureBeat, if I can get it up there, they showed off their basically their top 20 games of top best 20 games of the month in the US. First one, I'm not shocked by this, is Call of Duty Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War at number 1, Assassin's Creed Valhalla at number 2, Marvel Spider-Man's Miles Morales at number 3, Madden NFL 21 at number 4, Animal Crossing New Horizons at number 5, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at number 6, Ring Fit Adventure at number 7, Call of Duty Modern Warfare at number 8, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 9, NBA 2K21 at number 10, Super Mario 3D All-Stars at number 11, FIFA 21 at number 12, Immortal Phoenix Rising at number 13, Mortal Kombat 11 at number 14, Just Dance 2021 at number 15, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at number 16, Minecraft PS4 Edition at number 17, Cyberpunk 2077 at number 18, Super Mario Party at number 19, and UFC at number 20. So, obviously, several Mario titles have made it up there as well. Super Mario 3D All-Stars is still selling fine, although supposedly they'll end print, I think, sometime in March, so that may be it. Seeing Immortal Phoenix Rising on this list is certainly nice. I'm glad the game is doing very well. Definitely open to if a sequel ever does happen and all that stuff. Seeing Black Ops Cold War at number 1 isn't really that shocking at all, nor is seeing Assassin's Creed Valhalla up there, although last month it was at number 3 and now it has moved up to number 2 though. Miles Morales Spider-Man was at number 4, now it's at number 3, so obviously Nintendo has some stuff they're doing well, and so has basically, other companies too. Mortal Kombat 11 still is doing very well for them though. As far as the top best-selling game on each platform, on the Nintendo platform, Just Dance 2021 is the only third-party game on that list, though, and all that stuff. Otherwise, it's first-party games all around, with Animal Crossing New Horizon at number 1, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at number 2, Ring Fit Adventure at number 3, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 4, Super Mario 3D All-Stars at number 5, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at number 6, Just Dance 2021 at number 7, Super Mario Party at number 8, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe at number 9, and Super Mario Odyssey at number 10. Obviously, Mario is the most iconic video game character out there. To me, I think he's as iconic as Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse and all. So obviously, if it has a Mario on it, it's probably going to sell very well and all. Over on the PlayStation side of things, though, Sony has about basically about 3 of their games made it into the top 10 best-selling PlayStation games for January 2021. That is Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Demon's Souls and Ghost of Tsushima. So basically the list has Call of Duty at Black Ops Cold War at number 1, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales at number 2, Assassin's Creed Valhalla at number 3, Madden NFL 21 at number 4, Minecraft PlayStation 4 Edition at number 5, Demon's Souls at number 6, Ghost of Tsushima at number 7, FIFA 21 at number 8, NBA 2K21 at number 9, Call of Duty Modern Warfare at number 10. So, nice to see that Sony's got some of their first-party games up on this list, though. Again, not surprised, Call of Duty is pretty much at number 1, though. Over on the Xbox side of things, though, the only two first-party games that they have on there is Minecraft Xbox One Edition and Forza Horizon 4 are the only first-party games on the top 10 best-selling Xbox platform games for January 2021. Otherwise, the list goes as this: Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War at number 1, Assassin's Creed Valhalla at number 2, Madden NFL 21 at number 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare at number 4, Forza Horizon 4 at number 5, NBA 2K21 at number 6, Cyberpunk 2077 at number 7, FIFA 21 at number 8, Minecraft Xbox One Edition at number 9, UFC 4 at number 10. So the takeaway obviously is that basically Call of Duty is certainly doing very well. Black Ops Cold War seems to be doing just fine. And all that stuff. And Nintendo obviously has dominated charts with a lot of their games, especially the Mario titles and all that stuff. It's going to be very interesting to see how this will play out this year, with basically supposedly being the 35th anniversary of the Legend of Zelda. I mean, we already know Skyward Sword is coming to the Nintendo Switch, although it will be interesting if the rumors about Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, though, would be, if those rumors are true and if they're coming to the Nintendo Switch. I would say, if my take on that would be, I'm leaning towards it being more than likely being true, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Overall, though, very interesting list for January 2021. Call of Duty obviously is doing very well and all that, so it's not really that surprising, though. And I'm glad to see Immortal Phoenix Rising is still on that list. I'm glad that game's doing well. And to see that list dominated by Mario and all that stuff just shows you how powerful the Mario brand truly is, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with the rumors about a brand new Resident Evil game possibly coming to the Nintendo Switch, and might be at the very least a time exclusive, though. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at Resident Evil, particularly this latest rumor that has sort of come out about it, though, especially with it regarding to the Nintendo Switch. Now, the Resident Evil series has had its ups and downs and all that stuff. Its highest moment, in my opinion, has been when the release of Resident Evil 4 came out in 2005 for the Nintendo GameCube. and later that year over onto the PS2 and all stuff. But the series has also met some of its low points before. Games like the Resident Evil Survivor and mostly the Gun Survivor series to be exact, although I thought Dead Aim was probably one of the better entries into the Gun Survivor series though. Two game entries like Resident Evil 5 and 6, which, well, let's just say were kind of controversial with the direction they were going. 6 obviously rubbed people the wrong way and all that stuff, especially when it felt like Capcom was just trying to appeal to everybody as much as possible and all, and that didn't exactly pan out as well. And the series sort of got back on track thanks to the release of Resident Evil 7 that brought the series back to its survival horror elements and all that stuff though. 7 was a good game though. My two big complaints was, one, I wasn't a big fan of the bringing back the item box, and two, the lack of varieties of enemies and all that stuff. Well, obviously, we're looking forward to this year as Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8 is going to be coming out and all that stuff. And people are definitely looking forward to it, especially with the lady in white dress, which has pretty much exploded on the internet and all that stuff, though. Based on the footage they showed about that, though, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I like the fact that it's aiming similar to what Resident Evil 4 is, which is my favorite entry in the series. So that's one title I am definitely looking forward to and all that stuff. But as far as the Nintendo Switch goes and all that, the only Resident Evil game we've had up to this point has been a port of Revelations and Revelations 2 and all that though. So it doesn't seem like there's any plans to bring 7 or even 8 or even Resident Evil 2 Resident Evil 2 Remake 2 or 3 over to the Nintendo Switch. Some of that could be they don't have time, others could be the technical issues that could be facing the system and all that. Well, recently though, or so shall we say last year though, rumors kind of popped up a little bit about the possibility of a Resident Evil game coming to the Nintendo Switch, and some of those rumors pointed to it being a Switch focus, not a Switch exclusive and all that stuff. This also came out around the time when Capcom was hacked, and supposedly hackers released informations of several titles that were going to be coming that Capcom was planning to release, though, including one titled the name Resident Evil Outrage. Well, it seems to be rumor has started to pick up again, and it seems as though that might be the title coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, granted, it is worth pointing out this is a rumor, so this can't be 100% confirmed in any way at all, though. That said, it is worth also pointing out that the person who leaked this information, or the person who is speaking about this, is the same person who did leak claiming about Monster Hunter, a brand new entry coming to the Nintendo Switch and supposedly running on a Switch version of the RE engine though. We later learned that turned out to be true, basically in the form of Monster Hunter Rise, and it is running on the Resident Evil engine, although there's been some back and forth. Capcom is claiming this is running on the actual Resident Evil engines, others are claiming this is the custom-made Switch-specific version of the RE engine. But anyway, in a report coming from Gaming Bolt, though, the report reads that, quote, "The recent Capcom ransomware leak revealed the company's plans for large numbers of upcoming games over the next few years. Multiple Resident Evil games were leaked in the process, one of which is supposedly called Resident Evil Outrage, which according to prominent Resident Evil insider, or Capcom insider, Dust Goldman, is Revelation 3 in all but name, and will be Switch-focused entry starting Rebecca Chambers as the main protagonist. Recently, in a series of tweets, Dust Goldman revealed several more potential details on the upcoming as of yet unannounced title. According to him, Resident Evil Outrage is going to be a timed exclusive for the Switch at launch, but that will eventually be coming to other platforms as well, and it will be cross-gen release, so series fans can expect it to arrive on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series S and X, and Xbox One as well. As you expect, Outrage is supposedly being built using the RE engine, the way every entry in the series has been since the engine was debuted with Resident Evil 7 in 2017. According to Dust Goldman, though, once again, as you expect, it's being developed using the modified Switch-specific version of the engine similar to the upcoming Switch-exclusive Monster Hunter Rise. He also reiterated that Rebecca Chambers, who last appeared as a playable character in Resident Evil 0, will be the protagonist, while also stating that she will be joined by 2 more protagonists, both of whom are supposedly going to be returning characters. Meanwhile, Resident Evil Outrage is supposedly a pretty big production. According to the leaker, it has been in development for about 4 years, and its budget has far exceeded that of both Revelations and Revelations 2, supposedly even coming close to the budget of the upcoming Resident Evil Village itself. He expects that this is one of the main reasons why Capcom probably won't end up not calling it Revelation 3, even though it was supposedly Revelation 3 at one point in development. As per Dust Goldman, Resident Evil Outrage production and development scope is similar in nature to that of Code Veronica, which of course was essentially Resident Evil 3 in all but name. As for when the game will be revealed and released, apparently we don't have to wait too long. Dust Goldman said that the game is probably going to be announced a few months after Resident Evil Village launch in May as part of the series' 25th anniversary celebration. It was alleged not long ago after that, either late this year or early 2021. They point out that they should take this information with a grain of salt and all that stuff. And he has basically pointed out the Twitter. They basically made some comments on the Twitter, though. Some comments range from Outrage is 100% is Resident Evil engine, though the RE engine that's compatible with the Switch, like Monster Hunter Rise. It won't be the best looking Resident Evil game, but it's still pretty darn good, especially on Switch. Ultimately, Capcom would choose when it does, but I honestly expect we will not be waiting too long after Village's release. He mentions when someone asks him about being exclusive for a Switch game, he says time exclusive. It's released on it's released on everything, and it's a cross-gen game. He answered the question about that Rebecca is going to be the main character, though. He mentions how it has a higher budget than either Resident Evil Revelation 1 and 2. He said it'll be more like a Code Veronica tier title than anything, though. So, again, this is a rumor, so a grain of salt always has to be taken with this. But assuming this is true, let's just say for argument's sake, is this true, though? I definitely would be down for that, though. If we're not going to get Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 8 Village or even the Resident Evil 2 or 3 remake on the Nintendo Switch, then I don't think there's anything wrong with this kind of approach. Breaking a brand new Resident Evil game built with the Switch in mind and all that stuff, I certainly would be down with that. What I would like to see, if this is true, is I would like to see maybe some of the gameplay elements from 7, 8, and the Resident Evil Remake 2 and 3 kind of make its way over to this Resident Evil Outrage if this ever happens and all that stuff. Although I would like the game lean a little bit more towards like what 4 was to a certain degree, although we're seeing that with Resident Evil Village, though. So I certainly would be down with this kind of approach to the Resident Evil series on the Nintendo Switch if we don't get the mainline ones like 7 or 8 or anything like that. So overall, though, obviously it is a rumor, so a grain of salt should obviously be taken from this, though. But given how this is from supposedly a reliable leaker who did leak, a brand new Monster Hunter game coming to the Nintendo Switch, now being called Monster Hunter Rise, though, I'm leaning towards this one for now being maybe a bit more on the true side, like this being probably true and all, but we'll wait and see after Resident Evil Village came out to see if they do announce that, though. Maybe we'll hear something at E3. Maybe it will be shown at Nintendo's digital presentation. So there's always that possibility. But time will tell if this rumor turns out to be true or not. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with the Nintendo Direct, the first one of 2021. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the first Nintendo Direct that we've had in 2021. Now, obviously, the last one we had was in 2019 and all that. And while we did have some Directs, mostly small mini ones in 2020, we didn't really have a big one and all that stuff. A lot of it was because due to the fact that we are dealing with, you know, the coronavirus and all that. So it really has really hampered, like, a lot of things and all that stuff. But we finally got the first real Direct for 2021. It was 50 minutes long and all that stuff. And let's just say the response to this has been sort of mixed, as some people like it, some people don't and all that stuff. I would say, based on my time watching this Direct though, I would say is this. While it didn't blow me away or anything like that though, I will say I did not come away disappointed though. There were some nice announcements that they made though, although I will admit there were some announcements I would have loved for them to announce and love for them to show during the Direct. So in terms of what they showed at the Nintendo Direct, and I'll have links in the description of basically what was announced and all that. Some of the games they announced was that Pyra and Mira from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 are going to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So if you're a Smash Bros. Fan, so you got a new fighter and all that stuff. Whether that's the fighter you wanted or not, that's really going to come down to your preference and taste and all that stuff. Famicom's Detective Club title will be heading to the Nintendo Switch for the first time, so that's certainly nice that they're certainly nice though. I never heard of this game though and all that stuff, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. So, but glad that they're bringing it over here to the West nevertheless. As I mentioned with the Xbox though, we are getting Fall Guy this summer for the Nintendo Switch, which is certainly is nice. I think that is good and all that stuff. The Outer Wilds though will be coming to the Nintendo Switch this summer though. Supposedly it's a game where the universe gets destroyed and then resets itself. When I first read it though, I thought it said Outer Worlds, but no, it said Outer Wilds and all that stuff. Samurai Warrior 5 is going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch this summer. I might take a look at that one, although when it comes to the Warrior games, as I said before, I think the Nintendo theme Warrior ones are definitely the better Warrior games, at least from my view it is though. So we'll see what Samurai Warrior 5 is going to be like on the Nintendo Switch. Legend of Mana is going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch, and supposedly one feature is you could turn off enemies encounters though. I've been playing Trials of Mana though, good game to be exact though, so I might give this one a go as well. Capcom's Arcade Stadium is launching today on the Nintendo Switch though. They announced Mario Golf Super Rush though, which to me is probably going to be very similar to what Mario Tennis Ace and all that stuff, you know, a miscellaneous sport title and all. I might keep an eye on this one, especially since there's a story mode and I think it's sort of like a bit of an RPG in it though. It's kind of similar to what Mario Tennis Ace was to a certain degree, so I definitely will keep an eye on this one though. I do hope that there are plans to do another Mario Striker, though. I would love to see that happen, Nintendo. I really would, though. No More Heroes 3 will be out in August, though, and it will have the odd jobs and the fees for boss battles, though. Finally, we got sort of a date when No More Heroes 3 is going to happen, though. I'm looking forward to that game and all that stuff. This one, obviously, for the younger kids, I think mostly aimed towards girls, but particularly for the younger kids, they basically will have DC superhero teen power and all that. Again, younger audience, not my cup of tea or anything like that though. We know there are going to be in-game Mario merchants for Animal Crossing New Horizon though. Miitopia is going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. I don't think I remember playing the one back during the 3DS, so I'm curious to see how this one will play on the Nintendo Switch. As I mentioned, excuse me, in the quick my 2 cent though, it turns out to be that game is going to be rated 18 plus in Russia due to the whole same-sex marriage thing. Glad they're not banning the game, but I think it's a little ridiculous that they are doing that though. They will have the game called Neon White though. I have to look up more about that one though. Knockout City is the new game from Electronic Arts that they're bringing over, along with I think they're also bringing over, you know, Plants vs. Zombie Battle for Neighborhood Village, which is going to run on the Frostbite engine though, and not to mention not to mention Apex Legends will be coming to, is also, they showed off gameplay of Apex Legend running on the Nintendo Switch. Supposedly that will be cross-platform though. It's nice that EA is doing somewhat more support for the Nintendo Switch. Whether or not that's going to be enough, and whether or not the games do well on the Switch remains to be seen. And it will be interesting to see if EA actually brings over maybe other titles, like maybe like a Dead Space in the Nintendo Switch, or any of the Mass Effect games, like the Legendary Collection in some form, or even some of the Dragon Age games would be nice. So we'll have to wait and see if that happens. But for right now, we know that Knockout City, Apex Legend, and Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborhood is be coming to the Neighborville will be coming to the Nintendo Switch. The Plants vs. Zombie one will be in March. It will be $40 though. Project Triangle Strategy though, the new game from Square Enix, which follows the art style very similar to what Octopath Traveler is. They're working on that one as well. I'm willing to try that game out. They recently have a demo, and I think that is available to download though. We have World's End Club, Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, Zelda Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity will be getting an expansion patch though. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD Collection will have both motion controls and buttons. I'm very curious to see how the button ones are going to play out, especially since now you'd be using the right analog stick to do Link's sword move and all that stuff. So I'm very curious about that though. Stub the Zombie will be coming out on March 16th. And last but not least, they ended it with Splatoon 3, and they showed us a little bit of a clips of it. And judging by the clips that they showed, that looked like a post-apocalyptic world, especially with like the Eiffel Tower like upside down or anything like that. So I'm very curious to see how Splatoon 3 is though. I will say, like I said before, I will say this Direct though was basically, again, didn't blow me away, but I didn't come away disappointed though. Some of the games that they announced that I am very happy for is the fact that No More Heroes 3's launch date though. No More Heroes 3, the launch date though. Mario Golf Super Rush, that one looks interesting though. Let's see, what else? Though I would say, I forgot to mention they're doing Star Wars Hunter, which is a free-to-play online shooter. A little iffy on that though. The Project Triangle strategy game, that one I'm going to try out the demo and see how I feel about that game though. Ninja Gaiden Masters collection though, that one is a big one for me. I'm glad they're bringing those games over to the Nintendo Switch. Although I am a little curious to see how well those games run on the Nintendo Switch. Let alone, is it going to be all the games in one cartridge, or are we going to do something, or are we going to see it in a similar fashion like the Borderlands Legendary Collection was last year, where you only had the first game on the cartridge and the rest you had to download. So I'm a little curious to see how that's going to play out and all that stuff though. Mentioned Hades is getting a physical edition. That's also nice though. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword though, I'm curious to see how that is going to play on the Switch, especially with the button commands though. The announcement of Splatoon 3, again, interesting in the post-apocalyptic setting that they have for Splatoon 3. I'm a little surprised they're doing a third one though. I thought they would stick with Splatoon 2, much like we saw with Super Mario Maker 2, but obviously they're doing a third one, which is certainly nice and all that though. So I will say, like I said before, it was a good Direct. It wasn't perfect. It was good. There were some pretty neat announcements that they had out there though. It's just the shame that some people on the internet are taking it maybe a little too seriously and going out of their way calling it the most disappointing Direct, or like any of the leaks were false and all that stuff. I mean, seriously. And one thing I learned about when it comes to the Nintendo Directs is that you keep your expectations in check though, okay? I'm not saying Nintendo doesn't surprise us with any of their Directs. Sometimes they could pull a rabbit out of their hat and it turns out to be something nobody expects it in a good way, but at the same time it could also come off in a bad way as well. And as for all these leaks or anything like that, one thing I've learned is that you take any of these leaks with an absolute grain of salt. Not that any of these leaks could be wrong, but at the same time, there's a 99% chance they could be false. And sometimes they put games on there that sound like, you know what, that's too good to be true or anything like that, though. So for me, it's always keep your expectation in check whenever Nintendo does a Direct. And when you do that, there may be some announcements you really like, and there may be like, doesn't click for me. So overall, the bottom line for this Direct for me is this. Like I said before, and I'll say it again, it didn't blow my socks away or anything like that, but I did not come away disappointed in this Direct in any way and all that stuff. And as long as you keep your expectations in check when it comes to these Nintendo Directs, you'll probably enjoy them and all that. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 4, and this one has to do with, unfortunately, more bad news regarding Google Stadia. This one has to do with the reason why they shut down their first-party development studio. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our 4th and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and this one has to do with Stadia, unfortunately in a not so great light and all that stuff, despite them announcing the 100 games that they're going to be bringing over to Google Stadia and all that stuff. This month has been pretty rough on Stadia and all, for those who have Google Stadia and all that stuff. I've tried out the free version and all, and I still think Stadia is good. The tech is impressive and all that stuff, but Google's execution on it has not been exactly great. Some of it is from leadership, and some of it is from Google, and some of it is the PR department having issues and all that stuff. And other than a lawsuit they are facing right now, I'll have the links in the description. This has to do with them basically being sued that they misled on 4K on Google Stadia and all that stuff. The biggest story that came out this month was obviously the closure of their first-party studio and all that stuff. And this kind of shocked people in a way and all that stuff. And some signaled it as this is the end of Stadia and all that stuff. While I won't go as far as saying that this is the end of Stadia at this time, I'm taking a wait-and-see approach on it, though. I will say, however, this certainly was not great news for Google to do, especially after learning last week how Amazon is continuing to push their game studio forward despite some misfires that they've gotten themselves into, and not to mention issues that they have to seriously address. Well, a recent story from Kotaku has sort of came out that seems to point to the possibility that Phil Harrison may have misled the employees, or at least they were telling them that they were doing a great job until the next day they decided to close the studio and all that stuff. If this story is true, then this just adds another headache for Google with Google Stadia and all. In an article from 9to5 Google, it reads that, quote, excuse me, a report from Kotaku today sheds light on an internal email sent by Harrison in the weeks before the closure of Stadia's games and entertainment. In the email, Harrison commended the great progress made by SG&E Studios to date, saying that Google will confirm that SG&E's investment develop shortly, which would inform strategic and objective for the division in 2021. The email reads, in part though, Stadia Games and Entertainment had made great progress building a diverse and talented team and establishing a strong lineup of Stadia exclusive games. We will confirm that SG&E investment developed shortly, which will in turn inform the SG&E strategy and 2021 objective and key result. Making matters worse, Harrison apparently later admitted, 3 days after the public reveal, that he was aware of the immediate closure of the studio at the time of sending this email. Apparently, SG&E employees only learned of the studio's closure at almost the same time as the public did. Looking back with some hindsight, one slightly harrowing tweet from SG&E creative director from the day seemed to confirm the detail. Perhaps more frustrated detail to this report is the impact that the closure is having on the 150 plus development Google hire for SG&E. One source apparently said, we had multi-years reinsurance and now we don't. Google previously mentioned that it would find new positions for displaced employees in other parts of the company, but apparently the company is struggling to do so as the employees hired have specialized skill set that other positions can't take advantage of. Google's mismanagement of this situation doesn't stop there either, as sources also said that employees were met with a severe lack of resource, including difficulty obtaining needed hardware and software, and the company not employing more people despite its lofty goal. That hiring freeze was reported back in April. A call on February 4th saw a Q&A between Harrison and Stadia employees that was described by one person as an ultimate unsuccessful attempt at extracting some kind of accountability from Stadia's management. While Harrison didn't provide the answers some were hoping for as regards to why the studio was closed early on, he did specifically point to Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda as one of the many factors leading to Google's decision. Another factor was apparently COVID-19, which is a head-scratcher given how the pandemic has boosted the gaming industry despite having some negative effect on development, delays, and etc. Now, if this report from what 9 to 5 is Google is saying that they got from Kotaku, if this report is true, then yeah, that's a very, very scummy thing what they just did though. The fact that they misled and lied to their staff, that saying they were doing a good job, and then next thing you know, they got the pink slip and all that stuff. And this just adds another headache and another problem from Google Stadia, nevertheless, though. And to me, I think that if Google is very serious about Stadia and wanted to move forward and all, I think they need to fix management once and for all. I think the higher ups, they need to get new people. They need to fix their PR department. That is for certain. And I honestly think Phil Harrison needs to go. I really do. I think he has mishandled the situation with Stadia pretty bad, though. But I also think the management there, and I think Google itself needs to re-examine their approach in terms of Stadia and all that stuff. I mean, again, the tech is impressive, and don't get me wrong, it works and all that stuff, but they have misfired on so many levels, and you can see why people are looking at this as joining the Google graveyard and all that stuff. I'm not sure if we're at that. I'm not sure if it will join the Google graveyard yet. I'm not 100% certain. Like I said before, I'm taking a wait and see approach on this though, but clearly Google really needs to re-examine what they are doing with Stadia and all that stuff, because they have been making some of their decisions has not been 100% perfect though. I mean, the fact that they closed it because of COVID-19 seems somewhat ridiculous, and I kind of agree considering that a lot of developers have been able to get their games out despite COVID-19. Yes, there have been some delays because of it though, and obviously some games have been canceled, but shutting down the complete studio, I rarely have heard of something like that. And the acquisition of Bethesda, I mean, so we've seen Sony and Nintendo acquire studios as well. So I just really think Google needs to overhaul a lot of things if they truly want Stadia to be successive right now, and that includes getting a better PR team and getting better management, because the current management is really screwing up. So overall though, this is just adds more and more to a headache for Stadia and all that stuff. I do hope 2021 is certainly better for Google Stadia and all that stuff. But if Google can't get their act around in 2021, if they can't fix the situation with Stadia though, then I can see where it's only a matter of time before it joins Google's graveyard though. I'm not saying it's going to happen right away though. I still think it's possible they could keep Stadia going though, and like I said, I'm taking a wait and see approach in regards of Google Stadia, but right now, let's just say Stadia is not in the best position at this moment. Excuse me. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week, and again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the latest NPD that has come out, though? Are you surprised that Call of Duty Cold War or Black Ops Cold War was #1? Or are you not surprised at that at all? Are you pleased to see something like Immortal Phoenix Rising still be on the list? Are you kind of surprised to see all these Mario titles do very well on this list, though? What are your thoughts about this rumored Resident Evil game possibly coming to the Nintendo Switch as a timed exclusive and all that stuff. Do you agree with it being a time exclusive? Do you think this rumor is true? And if so, would you be willing to pick up a brand new Resident Evil game on the Nintendo Switch? What are your thoughts about the latest Nintendo Direct, or the first one for 2021 though? Did it meet your expectations? Did it not meet your expectations at all? Did you like what was shown at this Direct? Did you not like what was shown at this Direct in any way and all that stuff though? And what are your thoughts about the situation surrounding Google Stadia over the whole shutting down of their first party studio though? Do you think this was a scummy move, or when they said that they were doing a great job and then the next thing you know they decided to shut the studio down? Do you think there needs to be a change in management in any way? Do you think there needs to be a change in the PR department? Do you think Phil Harrison, who's the vice president of Stadia, do you think he needs to go and bring someone else in and all? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, wish you all a good day then. Bye!